If you've been forced into being single, or you're considering being single after 20 or 30 years of marriage, you're going to find it a little bit more difficult than what you might expect. And you may have some challenges that you're going to have to face. I would liken it to learning to walk after sitting for 20 or 30 years. Your muscles aren't going to be strong. You're not going to have very good coordination. You're going to get dizzy from time to time, and you're probably going to fall down a couple times. Having gone through this, I can tell you it is a process that's certainly worth the payoff in the end, but the process can be very challenging, and it does have a lot of obstacles and opportunities to learn that you're probably not expecting. So today, I want to go through a basic outline of how you can go from zero, which is really where you're starting, back to having a fulfilling and complete life after you've gone through a divorce. Now, I'm not going to go deep into all the emotional stuff here, because I've done that in other videos. I'm just going to give you a basic outline of what areas in your life you really need to focus on in order to achieve this objective. So let's talk about it. I don't know if Abraham Maslow was divorced and had to go through all this stuff and that's how he figured it out, or if he was just really a brilliant guy, but probably at some point he had to do a lot of self-reflection to kind of come to these conclusions. But his hierarchy of needs is one of the best outlines for how you can rebuild your life from scratch, and it's a great place to start. So initially, at the very base, for those of you who don't know what Maslow's hierarchy of needs are, just imagine a pyramid. And at the base of that pyramid are your most foundational needs. And as you go up the pyramid, they become more and more enlightened. You know, self-actualization is what's at the peak of the pyramid. But between the base and the peak are several very important steps, and you just can't overlook them. And you have to identify which aspects that you're dealing with and why they're so important, because you really can't progress much beyond the level that you're at any given time. So to achieve a completely fulfilling life, you've really got to make sure that each one of the steps along that pyramid, or each one of the levels on that pyramid, are accounted for, and that you have created a foundation for yourself to be able to move on to the next level. At the very foundation is your physiological needs, and those include food, water, shelter, safety, the very basics that you need to live. And although we kind of take those things for granted in the West, for a lot of guys who have been asked to leave their home by their ex-wife, these things are not easy to take for granted, because your finances may be in disarray, finding a place to live might be a challenge, depending on how many your relationships are, where you are in your life in terms of how far you are from family, your situation for how close you need to be to your ex because of children and all this stuff. There's a lot of things to consider at this stage, but establishing a new home is so, so critical. And you've got to create a space that, obviously, if you've got children that you're going to be inviting over from time to time, that accommodates what your essential needs are. So take a look at what are your essential needs for this place, and then think in terms of what your finances are and how close you need to be to anybody and anything, and make sure that you address all of those needs, or those things. The primary, of course, is going to be your finances. You don't want to get into a situation where your housing costs are way beyond what you can afford. When I was going through it, I was fortunate that we had rented a small house. And so worst case scenario, if I had to walk away from that small house, I could do it. And also another fortunate thing I had is that I still live relatively close to my sister, and my mother only lives a few miles away. And I have grown up in this area, so I have a lot of relationships here. So I had a lot of people that I could fall back on. So I think it's really helpful if you can kind of take inventory of what your resources are in case of a worst case scenario. Who are your friends? Who's your family? Who could you count on at the time of your worst possible need, when things are really going sideways? Who are the resources that you have that you can count on? Because those are that's the way you need to be thinking as you're doing this transition. And then, what are the essential needs that you have for a home? You're obviously going to need to, to be able to accommodate yourself, but you need a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. What do you need in order to fit the bill for your role going forward? And if you've got small kids, you might be able to get away with a 1-bedroom house and just have or an apartment and just have a pull-out couch. Kids love sleeping on pull-out couches. But just something to consider. You're going to have to find a nice place to live, and obviously that's the primary need. On Maslow's pyramid, the next one up are safety needs, and this includes health and finance. And these are two things that you cannot overlook here. I know you've got a lot on your mind, as you're splitting up with your wife, and there's lawyers, and there's stress, and there's money, and there's so many things going on. But you've got to get your finances right, and you've got to get your health right. If you want to feel like you have some control in this time of, chaos, working on these things really does give you a sense of being able to control your experience in your environment. For me, being in the gym always gave me a sense of control, because no matter what was going on in my life, if I could spend some time in the gym and I could get through a good workout, I knew that I had some control over my body, my state of mind. I would be able to remain healthy and clear-headed through whatever experience I was having, and I could make the best decisions possible without having to worry about physiological malfunctions. The last thing you need to be doing is dealing with some kind of an illness while you're going through this very stressful situation. And stressful situations align very closely to serious illnesses. So you have to have that in mind, that this stressor that you're experiencing, whether you realize it or not, is having an effect on you at a physiological level. And it can lead to all kinds of terrible shit, including cancer and heart disease and anything else you can think of. So becoming aware of what your state of mind is and doing what you can to reduce your levels of stress and accepting what is going on. Recently, the Washington Commanders have a new quarterback. If you guys follow football or not, I'll just give you a quick description. His name is Jaden Daniels, and this guy is like the most Christian athlete I've ever seen. Anytime you see him interviewed, and they're always giving him all these accolades about what a great athlete he is and what a great job he does on the field and how cool he remains no matter how stressful the situation is. And the reason why he's able to do that is because of his faith, because he believes at a very deep and profound level that everything is going to be okay, no matter what. Because he believes so strongly in God and that God's got a plan for him that no matter what happens, he believes it's all going to be okay. So I think this year he's won 5 games in the last minute with a touchdown pass or on a last minute drive. For a rookie, that's just an extraordinary accomplishment. And when you see him on the field, you can see how effortless his performances are. He never gets upset. He's always loose. He's always got a joke. He's always got a smile on his face. He's a great example of how to approach your own life because he's able to have this faith that everything is going to be okay. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or what your religion is or even what your spiritual beliefs are. If you have a belief that you're just a part of a larger plan, a larger force in the universe, it doesn't matter what you call it, and you believe that the energy that is within you is not going to be destroyed at the end of your life, that it's going to continue on in some form, then you can have some level of faith in believing that whatever's happening to you right now is a part of a larger process. And if that's the case, then everything is going to be okay in the end. And I think if you can have that state of mind, it can reduce the level of stress that you experience as you go through the most difficult things in your life. It allows you to breathe. It allows you to find calmness. It allows you to find the humor in situations. It allows you to decompress all that negative energy and believe that this is what's the best thing for you in this moment, even though it might be very, very painful. So I offer up Jaden Daniels as an example. If you've watched him play or even if you haven't, just understand that kind of energy that he brings to what for most of us would be extremely stressful situations as a young guy, like 22, 23 years old, in front of millions of people, getting paid millions of dollars, lots of expectations on him, under the most difficult set of circumstances, and then pulling through and being this clutch athlete that wins the game in the end. I mean, it's like some kind of fairy tale. Well, that could be your fairy tale too. It's a clutch time, you know, it's fourth down in the fourth quarter, you know, you need to make a play to win this game. And you need to get into that frame of mind. It's like, okay, I can do this, I got this. And working out, and taking care of your health, and taking care of your finances are the way to create that sense of calmness that you have in your life. So really prioritize your health and your finances as you go through this transition. The next level up on this hierarchy of needs, the pyramid, is love and belonging. And it can really be tough, especially for single guys at this stage in life. If you're, you know, an older guy, you've probably lost track of a lot of your friends over the years. And it can be tough to make new friends. And in fact, male loneliness is a problem. I think loneliness in our culture as a whole is really a problem. People do not have these extended communities like we did, you know, even when I was growing up. So having friends that you can count on and family members that you can talk to is really, really critical. The thing to remember about friendship or love is that it can only be given. It can't be taken. And this is something that people overlook. And in this problem, there is this perfect solution. Because in this situation that we're in, where people feel more and more isolated and are more and more lonely, anyone who extends a hand of friendship in a loving way will find many takers of that hand. So I implore you, if you're feeling lonely, and this is a really tough problem for guys our age, you need to extend that hand. You need to go to the places where other guys are going to be. It may be bars, it might be churches, it might be volunteer organizations, it might be, you know, men's clubs like a Lions Club or one of these things. You just got to reach out and extend that hand of friendship to someone else. And I promise you there will be lots of takers. But it's not something that you can solve sitting on your couch. This is not a social media solution. This is something that has to happen in real life. You've got to go out and you've got to bring some people into your life. Trust me, everybody's got problems. Everybody could use an extra set of ears to listen. Everybody wants to have someone they can lean on. Everyone wants to have an extended group of friends. I mean, not everyone. There's going to be some people who prefer to be isolationists, but having that kind of support system or creating a support system like that is really, really important. Now, if you already have friends and family and people that you count on that are nearby, then you're blessed. And you just have to recognize this blessing for what it is, because for those guys who don't have that, man, they are in really, really bad way, and the loneliness can really get to you. What happens to a lot of guys after their divorce is they start feeling that loneliness, and they think that the only way they can solve it is to bring another woman into their lives. And this, of course, is the worst thing you could do at this point, because you are vulnerable. You are sad. You're not feeling good about yourself. You're not in your A game. You're not playing at the highest level. And the worst thing you need to do, or you could do at this moment, is to start another relationship with a woman. Because first of all, you're going to pick poorly, almost guaranteed. The odds are so stacked against you. The likelihood of you finding a decent woman at this point in your life is almost zero. So I would strongly recommend against it. But reaching out to other guys, you know, and relying on that brotherhood or creating a brotherhood with a bunch of other guys really, really, really is powerful. I cannot even begin to tell you how male companionship in times of difficulty is extremely healing and reassuring, and can make an enormous difference in your life. I think that having guys around that are going through similar things, divorced men's groups, that kind of stuff, man, it will make a difference in your life. And I strongly implore you to, like I said, reach out that hand, get off your ass, get off the couch, and stop feeling sorry for yourself and meet some new people. Because if you don't, the psychological damage that you do to yourself in that state is really tough to get out of, because you start to spiral into a negative cycle that is very, very tough to break. And it can lead to mental illness and alcoholism and drug addiction and all that negative crap. And that's the last thing you need to be at. That'll never work out for you if that's where you're going. So the next layer on this pyramid is esteem, or self-esteem. And this is where having a mission or a purpose in your life is critical. Having a way that you can create a path forward for yourself, a vision for your life that encompasses all the things that you enjoy and serves a purpose to, help enrich you personally, but also help people around you, is extraordinary, because it will give you a sense of accomplishment. It'll give you a sense of importance in the world. And having that mission and having that purpose is so critical to your mental health. It may also be really critical to your financial health. It may also be critical to your having friends in your life health. I mean, all these things kind of interlock together over time. You start to see the way these pieces fit together. But, and I've talked at length in the past about having a mission. So definitely having a clear vision for your life. And one of the best ways to achieve this, if you're not really sure where to start, is I find that right before I go to bed, just laying there awake with the lights out and just relaxing as much as I can, just relaxing my entire body so that I'm in a very relaxed state, and then just envisioning how I want my life to appear in the future. How do I want it to feel? What do I want my life to be like? And just really allowing that vision to sink in. I don't worry about the how it's going to happen. I just worry about the what I want to happen. And once you get clear about the what you want to happen, the how just kind of comes to you. It'll just come to you. It's almost magical the way opportunities will appear, and you'll find a path forward. But you really do need to get clear about what it is you want to do with your life at this time. And that's one of the blessings of divorce, is it gives you this opportunity to have this second life, this life 2.0. And don't think of it as a burden. No, this is the good stuff. This is where the fun actually happens. So embrace the mission and make it your own. Make it something that you see as a blessing, and it will be just that. It will be a blessing. The final level of this pyramid is self-actualization, and that is a very, highfalutin way of saying you reach your full potential. You're reaching your potential on a regular basis. You are becoming the man that you always wanted to be. That's really what it is. Self-actualization is just a fancy word for saying that you are engaged in your life at a high level and you are reaching your full potential. You're growing and becoming creative in the way that you live your life. You have a positive impact on the lives of the people around you. Your life is just in the flow, when you see a great athlete perform and you just see them in that zone, they talk so much about, is when you're in the zone, time seems to stop. It seems like everything starts moving in slow motion, and you are able to see the world more clearly, and everything comes into focus at a much higher resolution, and you can more clearly make decisions that always work out well or seem to work out well into your advantage. It's not just about having money or being successful in your job. It's about having successful relationships, having a network of friends. It's about being on top of your health. It's about appreciating every day and having something new to appreciate all the time. It's really just when you're at that point, the likelihood of you finding a really great partner, if that's what you choose to do, that's when your odds are best. If you want to bring another woman into your life, if you think that you are ready or that's something that's important to you and you want to have another long-term relationship at this point in your life with a woman, this is the time to do it. Because when you are flying, because that's what's going to be happening, metaphorically, you are flying high at this moment. This is where you're going to attract the best people. This is where you're going to attract the kind of woman that you really want to be with. If you do it before you reach this point, the likelihood that you're going to be facing another divorce is very, very strong. It's very likely that will be the case. So if having a relationship is important to you, or really doing anything is really important to you, any endeavor that you really want to take a risk with, now's the time to do it. When you're hitting on all cylinders, this is when the likelihood of luck being on your side is going to be there. You're going to be much more likely to be successful at any endeavor that you take on. Making the transition from being married to being single can be daunting. It can be even scary. But it can also be a great opportunity. And I think that if you look at it as a great opportunity and it's an adventure, then you're going to be much more likely to succeed at it. If you've been in a bad marriage for a long time, as many of you have been, just the pure sense of relief of having her gone is probably almost like, it's just like a gift. It's just a gift not to have to wake up to that sourness in your life. So now take that positive energy that you're feeling from the relief of that experience and turn it inward, and how can you now maximize this opportunity? How can you turn this into something that will really enhance your life for the next 20, 30, 40 years, whatever you've got left on this planet, and make your life enjoyable again? Kind of make up for lost time, if you know what I mean. So yeah, don't look at it as a negative. Even though there's a lot of emotional pain and difficulty that you're going through, now's the time to turn this thing around and to live the life that you always wanted to live. So that's what I got for you today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I hope you'll like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video. But in the meantime, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.